Hello and welcome to Brandon Smith of Rugby. I hope you're doing very well. And although the European competitions are currently taking place and, of course, are centre stage, I thought it'd be really interesting to have a look back at the PRO14 season and put your side into a tier list. Where do they fit and which teams really stood out this season? As always, if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. We're pushing towards 1,500 subscribers. We're very, very close to doing it. So it'll be awesome to do that over the course of the upcoming weekend. So hit the subscribe button if you're new, like the video, and let me know in the comments down below where would you put your team. Let's get straight into the tier list. So let's get going then. Let's start with the first team. That is Benetton. Benetton this season, they finished bottom of Conference B. They didn't manage to win a game all season. Played 16, drew 1, lost 15. It's not a great record and it does not look that good. But if you actually look at some of their results, they've actually been really, really close on a number of occasions. And you have to take into consideration that these regions are much weaker than the other ones in the competition. And when they get called up to the Autumn Nations Cup for Italy or to the Six Nations squad, that they really do struggle. And again, we have to take into consideration this time that it is, of course, it is a COVID year. It's very, very difficult for a lot of sides. Some shining lights for them. Garbisi and Ione, I think, really good players, especially Monty Ione, the winger. I think he offers a lot to the side. Bram Stein as well, being a brilliant player, but being injured so much. It's been a very difficult season for Benetton, but I don't think it's a season to forget for them. I'm going to put them in Meh. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let's head on to the next team, which is the Cardiff Blues. Of course, as a Welshman, we kept an eye on this team quite a bit. Cardiff Blues finished fourth in Conference B, won 8, lost 8, secured European rugby after beating Edinburgh on the final game of the season. If I'm being totally honest, I think the Blues have a lot of promise and have a lot of ability, but we just have not seen it. I was speaking to a good friend of mine, Ben Ford, who's actually started a YouTube channel. I'll leave a link to that in the description if it's up already. Josh Adams has only played 3 times for the Blues this season. It's absolutely crazy to think of that. And for a quality player like that, and think of the wage that he'd be on as well, that's just not good enough at this level. And you need your best players playing week in, week out. I really like Jared Evans. I think he's a great player, but he's a young player and there's a lot of pressure on him. With Priestland coming in next season, that's a very good sign in my opinion. I think the Blues team should be doing better. So I'm going to put the Blues in Meh. I think they should be doing better. They should be a much better side than what they're showing at the minute. So putting them in Meh. Blues fans, let me know your thoughts down below. But for them, they did have the most tackle success rate in the league, the most turnovers won, but their discipline wasn't great. Again, the 5th most yellow cards. So a couple of things to work on there for the Blues. Let's stay in Wales then. It is the Dragons going in this tier list. How where they're going to fit though? So they finished 5th in Conference A, 6 wins, 10 losses. Actually had a very strong finish to the season and a lot of promise under Dean Ryan. I think Dean Ryan is a really good coach and I think they've got some quality players there. Jamie Roberts had a brilliant season. Ashton Hewitt finished really, really well. You got to say that Jordan Williams as a fullback is a really exciting player. And surprisingly, they've got the 2nd best defence in the league. They just don't score any tries. So they got the 2nd best defence, but they just don't score any tries. That is their issue. So if they can sort that out, they could be a very, very good side. I'm not sure where to put the Dragons. I'm really struggling. I'm going to put them in all right. They've shown a lot of promise this season. I think they're really going to kick on. And they lost against Northampton Saints in Europe, so we're not going to focus on that. But I think they've got a lot of promise, so they're going in all right. Let's go to the first of the 2 Scottish sides. First up then is Edinburgh. Edinburgh this season finished 5th in Conference B. 5 wins, 1 draw and 10 losses. They simply couldn't score enough tries this season. 29 tries all season. That's the 11th worst in the PRO14. And no one really scored tries for them. There wasn't someone who's consistently scoring. In fact, their top try scorer is Marcus Bradbury with 4 tries. So it hasn't been a great season. They've missed a lot of players. A lot of players been out through injury and called up to the Scottish national team. And maybe you'd say that they overachieved last season. Maybe you'd say that. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. Obviously, Duhan van der Merwe's off to Worcester this summer, so that's going to be interesting. But Hamish Watson has had an incredible 6 Nations, and hopefully he'll have some more action for Edinburgh. A few players to shout out. Ione So, what really stood out for them this season. Defenders beaten 25. That's the 12th most in the PRO14. Scored 3 tries and also had 370 metres gained. That's the most in the squad. I'm going to put them in season to forget. I think it was a really tough season for Edinburgh. They will not want to think about this one much more. Let's stay with the Scottish sides then. It is Glasgow Warriors. Where are we going to put Glasgow Warriors? Well, Glasgow Warriors finished 4th in Conference A, 6 wins and 10 losses. Really tough season for them, you have to say. Going forward, they were actually very good this season, scoring 40 tries. That's the 5th best in the Pro 14. High on meters gained, defenders beaten, and also on clean breaks. So very much an attacking side, and showing that they could score a lot of tries and create lots of opportunities, but their discipline really let them down this season. The most yellow cards, 16, and also the 4th most red cards in the competition. So it's been a really tough year for this side, you have to say. I think we've got to put them in there. It's been a really tough year for them. Adam Hastings, of course, is leaving, but I do think there's some shining lights coming through. I think Ross Thompson at 10 is a really exciting young fly half, and hopefully he gets more of an opportunity next season. Of course, we do have Duncan Weir coming back to play for them in the summer. The next team, you may not be able to see their logo, but it is in fact the Ospreys. Finished 3rd in Conference A, 8 wins and 8 losses. Couldn't score enough tries. That's the simple answer. Only 34 scored. That's the 8th in the Pro 14. But again, things such as meters gained is the 12th worst. And so pretty much the worst in the league, 4,481. Defenders beaten again, the 12th worst, 214. Toby Booth plays a very specific style, doesn't he? He's very much forward orientated, have the platform to play and then play. Really key players, you have to say, would be the likes of Stephen Milo, Reece Webb, Kieran Williams, Owen Watkin this season. And as an Ospreys fan, we've shown a lot of promise this season. It's really good building blocks, and compared to where we were 2 seasons ago, where we didn't win a game pretty much all season, I'll absolutely take this season. And to get that win against Leinster on the final day with such a young squad was really, really encouraging. And I think there's a lot of good youngsters coming through the team at the minute, and I'm really excited to see how they go. Again, standing out in areas just kicking has been very good this season. I think that's down to Stephen Myler. He's really given us the platform to play and had that organisation and that experience. So I'm going to put Ospreys in all right season. I think we've shown a lot of promise this season, but to truly kick on, it'll be interesting to see how we get on over the summer. And let's go on to the next team then. That is the Scarlets. They finished 3rd in Conference B, 8 wins, 8 losses. So they had a decent season, but you always feel like the Scarlets, it just doesn't quite click. They want to play this brand of rugby, but do they know when not to play that brand of rugby? That's what I'd say about this season. There were moments where they were playing some great stuff when they absolutely smashed Connacht recently, and they played some fantastic stuff in there. But then there have been other games where they've lost games that they simply should not be losing at this level. Key players for them, Sione Kalamafoni has been absolutely massive, 2nd most tackles in the league. And yet they've really struggled with a lot of injuries and players being called up to the Wales squad. It's been a mess season for Scott. No, I'm actually going to put them in all right. They finished 3rd. The Ospreys finished 3rd, so I have to be fair. I'm going to say it's been an all right season, but I'd like to see them kick on next season. Next team then, we're heading over to Ireland. We're heading over to Ulster. Ulster are next in this one. Ulster this season, they finished 2nd in Conference A, played 16, won 14 and lost 2. Their attack was actually very, very good this season. 65 tries scored. That's the 2nd most in the competition, and they were the 2nd most in meters gained, defenders beaters and clean breaks, and were actually the 1st in lineouts and in scrums. I think it's been a brilliant season for them, and I think players such as McCluskey has really stood out, Coetzee has really stood out in many areas, Michael Lowry, of course, always brilliant, John Cooney, and I think it's been a great season for them. They would have liked to really have challenged a little bit more, I think, at the top of the table against Leinster, who we'll get on to later. But you'd have to say that it's been a great season for them. They're flying in Europe. I think they've had a great season. Ulster fans, let me know in the comments down below. And let's head over to the Italians then. Zebra finished bottom of Conference A this season. 4 wins, 12 losses. They did get some really good wins against the Dragons and the Ospreys, and they beat Benetton home and away. Really struggled going forward. Only 22 tries scored this season. That's the worst in the league. So you can see where they really struggled there. Their standout players, really, Pierre Bruno stood out. 27 defenders beaten. That's the 11th best in the Pro 14. And 500 metres gained. That's the 14th best in the Pro 14. But as I said, the biggest issue was their try scoring. I mean, when Luca Bigi is your top try scorer with 2 tries, it's always going to be a very, very difficult season for you. And so that's why Zebra, I'm going to put them in Meh. I don't think it's fair to put them in season 2 forget, because for their standards, getting 4 wins this season is probably what you'd expect from them, and they're always affected by the Italian squad, very much so. But yeah, I'm going to put them in Meh. Italian fans, very interested to know. Very interested to know where would you put the Italian sides this season. Let me know in the comments down below. Next team then is Connacht. Where are we going to put Connacht this season? They finished 2nd in Conference B, won 8, lost 8. Very good attack, the 2nd best third best in the league, 53 tries scored, which is the third best in the league as well. But the standout player for them this season has been Alex Wooten. He has been brilliant. 9 tries scored, that's the best in the competition. 18 clean breaks, that's the 4th best in the Pro 14. 34 defenders beaten, that's the 4th best in the Pro 14. And meters gained is 732, that's the 1st best. And Connacht have always, when they won the league, it was very, very surprising. We've got to be totally honest with that. I think they played some really nice rugby, and I think they've got some fantastic players. I think they've had a great season, in my opinion. I do think they could kick on a lot more, and it'd be interesting to see if they can do that, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up then, we have Munster. Munster Rugby. Where are we going to put Munster? Munster, of course, they finished top of Conference B, but they lost in the final against Leinster and probably didn't really put in a performance that they would have been happy with. You got to say, 14 wins, only 2 losses all season. Very good discipline, 3rd best in the league, and very powerful going forward. You know, that driving more was deadly all season. The big players for them this season, you'd have to say Gavin Coombs got 8 tries, that's the 4th best in the Pro 14. Gavin Coombs, once again, 86 successful carries, that's the best in the league. Then you have to say Chris Cloutier, I think that's how you say it, 14 turnovers, 1, that's also the best in the Pro 14. I don't think we saw the best of the likes of Damien Diolande. Joey Carberry came back from injury. I think Craig Casey as a scrum half is a very exciting young scrum half coming through, and Conor Murray's working himself back into form. I expect them next season to be very, very strong. Once again, I'm going to put them in great season. It feels like a missed opportunity for them. And finally, we've got to talk about the champions of the Pro 14 this season. That is Leinster. Leinster won the competition, of course, after they beat Munster in the final. And you've got to say, there have been moments throughout the season where you were really questioning whether this Leinster side were as good as years gone past, where they've gone invincible. But it is their 4th win on the bounce. So that simply cannot be ignored. Is it as great as past seasons? You could ask those questions. Ospreys obviously won at the RDS, and as an Ospreys fan, I don't mind saying that. But I do think they have been very, very impressive. And again, a lot of Irish players have been away, but we know the depth that this Leinster team have. I don't think it can be put in as an unforgettable season, but I certainly believe they deserve to go into great season. They're just so, so good. And when they get going forward and going through the phases and pick and go, and players like Penny getting the ball, Toner getting the ball, all these fantastic players getting the ball in hand. And we're seeing Robbie Henshaw. What a season he's had this season. He's been absolutely brilliant. Hugo Keenan, our fullback, once again has stood out. There's been loads of great players this season, and it looks very, very likely this team could absolutely smash the league once again next season. As always, if you have enjoyed, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, leave a like on the video, and of course comment your thoughts down below. Where would you put each team? I reply to every single comment as often as I can, and I read every single one. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you very soon here on BS Rugby. Peace.